Okay,
Go ahead.
we started. Okay. Thanks everyone join us for the first general PTA meetings for this school year. There's going to be updates for the school representative, which we will post it on our website. So first, we gotta talk about the minutes of the March meeting. We had the March PTA meeting, and then since then the lockdown happened, and we haven't got a consensus to pass the meeting minute. So, Mr. Gusman, can you pass the presenter to Lola Lay?
Yep.
And then she can present she can share the screen. Yep.
Okay, going to you, Lorelei.
Got it. Okay. Okay, here we, so I'll just go ahead and I guess scroll. And if someone can monitor the chat, if there's anything that needs to be changed or any questions that come up in the chat.
I'll monitor the chat.
Awesome, thank you. So just keep in mind that this was from March 10th, months ago. So there are a lot of things that we went over in regards to what was currently going on at the time. For instance, the CPK fundraiser for the 5th grade class, the 4th grade trip to Hawaii Island. One thing that Mr. Gusman did mention is that he encouraged parents, if you're an upcoming 4th grade parent or future 4th grade parent, that this is a wonderful opportunity to chaperone. Oh, yep, I will. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. It's actually in the shared drive folder.
As you guys are reading, just a couple of quick housekeeping items for those of you who just came in. I guess in the past meeting that I had, there was 2 different options to send in questions. One is in through the chat. The other is to the Q&A. And we'll just leave it that you can do it either. And also this meeting is being recorded. So if you've missed a little bit, you will be able to see it later on. So I don't think we've ever had, in the time that I've been here, more than 30 people at a
Yeah.
meeting. We're currently up to 77. So that's pretty good.
This is
Yeah.
awesome.
This is amazing. This is the most I've attended for all the PTA meeting I was in.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at this, I look at some of the things that we discussed back in March and how some things are being modified or no longer. So this upcoming school year is going to be a unique one in terms of the role of the PTA and how our Noelani families can continue to be involved and to support our faculty and staff. And yeah, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
You know, for when we get to the committees,
Yeah,
this format for next time, we're probably not going to have committee reports because those guys cannot, they would have to be made presenters next time.
Yeah. Or if they want to submit their reports prior to, then we can read them, or
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Just as now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably one of those things I missed. So.
Yeah. And actually around this part too, those of you that are here with us today, the committee reports, you'll notice that we got our committees here and we are in dire need of people to help us be committee leads, committee heads in the future. Obviously, this school year is a special one, but moving forward, we definitely need support from our families. So let us know if you're interested. We will contact you. But we did have a couple members step up to co-chair and shadow. So mahalo to those of you. Yeah. Yeah. So things like Kiki Swap Meet, you know, for that was something we needed to cancel for last school year because we didn't have enough support. So if there's somebody who is viewing today, if you're interested in helping us with the Kiki Swap Meet, obviously it might look different or it might not happen this year, but if you're interested in sharing that, we'd love to have you. Let us know. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat? Heard? No?
No. So can we have a motion to pass the minute?
I do it?
You got an
No.
offer to help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah.
I move
Any
to
of the-
approve the minutes from March 10th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, the minutes of March has been approved. So we're gonna move back to the next agenda.
Me?
Which is the principal report, Mr. Gussman.
Okay. All right. So I'll just start off again by saying thank you to everybody for helping out and supporting us as we've kind of zigzagged through the last I don't know how many weeks. So just as a recap, just so people understand what's kind of been going on. The last 2 weeks, we were supposed to have started school, but we've been doing professional development with our teachers, actually for the entire staff, from things like cleaning and disinfecting, to learning about social emotional kind of ways to support students, to special education, to distance learning, to different kinds of applications that we're looking at using like Pear Deck and some other things, Google Classroom. So it's really been a really good time for the teachers to kind of get up to speed and to get all of their plans together. Late last week, the department switched again. They call it pivoting. They pivoted again to a different direction. And so I think it was one that a lot of people agreed with, but then it also kind of reset some things in terms of our planning. And so we had to go back to the drawing board a little bit from Monday. And so we were able to kind of, we were preparing for that pivot already from last week. So it wasn't so bad for us now that everyone will be out of school. So I think we had a faculty meeting today, and I think we're pretty good to go and ready for the school year ahead. So I'm just going to go through a few of the things that are upcoming. Tomorrow evening, if you haven't already gotten the email from either the distance learning teachers or, so just as a point of context, if I say distance learning, that means the students who are on Excelis. If I say home learning, that refers to everybody else, the people who would have been in person or on the AB schedule. So just as a point so you guys understand what I'm talking about in two different kinds of groups, okay? So next week, we're going to have, tomorrow, we're going to have open house. So you should have received an invitation for those of you on home learning that you would have come to school in person. The teacher should have sent it out, and you have two options. You have a 5 o'clock session and a 6 o'clock session. It's all virtual. If you are on distance learning, you should have received an email from either Mrs. Chang, who's taking care of kindergarten, Mrs. Christensen, who's taking care of first grade, or Miss Chang, who's taking care of grades 2 through 5. So that open house, which you're going to learn all about how to log into Excelis, and they put together a bunch of stuff for you to kind of get started, is going to be at 5 o'clock. And then for grades 2 through 5, you will have an additional opportunity to get with your home learning teacher, because you are still connected to one, because we have to still take attendance and do a lunch count, and we want to kind of monitor. So if kids on distance learning ever were to return to Noelani, that's who their teacher would be. So we wanted to still have that connection. So every morning, the distance learning kids are going to still check in with their class online and see their teacher and their classmates. So we purposely did that, so there is still that connection to Noelani, and you're not just kicked out and you are just doing the Excelis stuff. So those teachers will go over how to do that, and any other information that there is. So if you were to ever return to the class, you would understand everything there is to know about each individual class. Okay, so again, if you didn't get that invite, please search your email. Maybe it's in your junk folder or something. But please, 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 as much as possible, there's going to be a lot of good information tomorrow at the open house. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is next week. So if you've seen from the superintendent's announcement, next week is sort of a week to kind of ramp up and get the kids whatever they need in terms of their books or materials to kind of meet their teachers actually in person. This is only for the home learning students. Distance learning is not going to do this. Okay, so if you are on home learning, teachers will be they've either sent it out already or they're going to give it to you tomorrow at open house, what the schedule is. Now, if you saw my email from last night, I gave you an updated version of the reopening handbook. In the reopening handbook is the schedule for each of the grade levels. Okay, so grades 2 through 5 follow the A-B rotation. So A's are going to come on Monday, B's are going to come on Tuesday. Kindergarten and first grade has a slightly different schedule, and the teachers should be sending something out to you to explain who's coming on what day. Okay, but if you look at the reopening handbook, that entire schedule is in there for next week, and what times the kids will be coming to. So most of the times are, for example, second grade will be here from 8:15 to 11:15. So for only 3 hours. So we expect the kids to come, and then at 11:15, somebody's got to be there to pick them up. They can grab a lunch. So starting from next week, meals will be available, but they're not free, just so everybody knows. They're only free to the people who are on free status. If you are on paid status, then you're still going to we're going to debit your account. Okay. So if you order a lunch and don't pick it up, we're still going to debit your account because the cafeteria had to make it. So just be aware, you can get meals and you can order them ahead of time when you do the check-ins in the morning. But also they'll be also available next week. So when the kids are leaving for the day, if they want to grab a school lunch, they can go in the cafeteria, grab their lunch. It's going to be in a to-go container. They'll scan their account and debit it, and then they're out of there and on their way. So just to let you know that option is available for everybody. Let's see, what else did I have here? If next week, if you haven't picked up your Chromebook, if you needed a Chromebook to do the distance learning or the home learning, and you already sent in the paperwork, ready for you in the office. You can come and pick it up at any time. If you don't pick it up before next week, by the end of this week, next week it will be available for the kids to have, and we'll give it to them when they come to school. Okay. Also, for those of you who dropped off supplies, we did the supply drop off. We thought school was going to start and all that stuff. If you need those supplies back, please communicate that with your open house teacher, and then they will be able to give you those supplies back. If you don't need like the Kleenex or paper towels or some other stuff that you put in there, just let them know and they can give you back the folders and the pens and whatever else that you had stuck in there. We just kept everything in the bags. We didn't put them away or anything. They're still in the bag, so we could just give you the whole bag back if necessary. If you don't need it back, then you can just leave it and it'll be in the classroom for when hopefully we return in September. Okay. Are there any questions? I can see if there's any in the chat. Stanford, are there any?
No questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gussman.
I got a
So
couple
next
more.
item.
A couple more. I got a little bit more, Maria. So just to clarify also, next week is the 17th, is Monday. The students on distance learning, they're not coming to school, as I said, to pick up anything, unless it's the computer. But hopefully people can do that by Friday. And office hours are now our normal office hours, 7:30 to 4 o'clock. So you can come from real early, and we've extended out to 4 o'clock, so plenty of time for you to stop by the office. But distance learning, you will start your lessons on Monday. Okay, so they will explain that in open house, but I wanted to make sure that you know that there is no sort of ramp up, because there is nothing that you need to come and grab. Okay. And you will start the check-in also with those teachers on Monday also through the WebEx, right? So it'll be like, 20, 25 minutes or so. They do the attendance. Hey, do you need lunch? Yes or no? How are things going? They get to see their classmates. And then the teacher needs to go off and do their thing. And then the distance learning kids will then start their program on Excelis. So that's kind of how it works. One other thing is, with the distance learning, we were able to rope in a couple of specials. So Hawaiiana is going to be offered to the distance learning students also. They're going to do it with their class. That would be their homeroom class. So all of the kids will be on at the same time, and you can do Hawaiiana with Makua Alana. So she will be doing that virtually, as well as PE. PE is a little bit of a mixed bag, depending on the grade level. In some instances, Mrs. Lum might be live, and in other instances, she's done videos. But you would be able to do it with your entire class. And then again, so there's opportunities for distance learning students to still have that connection with their classmates and see their classmates. And we thought that was really important for them to keep that connection to Noelani. Okay, well, a couple more things. Sorry, Maria. Just for everybody to know, please mark down August 21st, which is next week Friday, is admissions day. That is a holiday, so there's no school. So even for online, there's going to be no online instruction or anything. And then the following Friday, which is August the 28th, is our professional collaboration day. So teachers will be working, but there is no online for the students on the 28th. And then just if we go out one more as a heads up, September 7th is Labor Day. I believe it's a Monday. So we do have some short weeks ahead of us. So just so everybody is up to date. And then what I would normally do in this instance in PTA meeting is kind of talk about things that are going around campus in addition to all the other stuff. So if you haven't been around campus, our Idea Center, the roof is coming on. It's progressing really quickly. We're hoping that they will finish maybe sometime in the spring of 2021. If you haven't all, if I mean, again, people haven't been on campus. The fifth graders from last year have donated their gift back to the school. One of which is going to be hopefully an outdoor classroom, where the garden currently is next to the office. So that'll be some benches, and that'll be an opportunity for teachers to use that as an outdoor classroom. But they also had an artist come and do a floral mural all along a building on the wall on the second floor, and it's pretty awesome. So when you get a chance, come down and check that out. We're currently replacing the fence at the play court. It was getting really rusty, especially on the Mauka side. So they should be done by this week. Let's see. Just a reminder that when the kids are out, really the campus is closed to recreational use. I know I've had to sort of ask some people to leave because the parks are now closed. People are starting to come onto school campuses, but we want to keep this a safe place. And this is not an appropriate place to exercise or have your dog run around. We want to keep contamination or anything, to a minimum. So if you know people who come to school and do that kind of thing, if you can kindly ask them to maybe go someplace else. So, and then I see in the chat there is a question about, does distance learning have a lunch option? The answer is yes. So in the morning when distance learning checks in with their teacher, they can indicate if they want lunch or not. So if they do and they're on paid status, we'll debit the account, and then you can come by, drive by between 11:15 and 11:45, I believe it is, and pick up the lunch. You just drive up on the curb and say the name of the student, and then they'll bring out the lunch for you. For this next week, the hours are a little bit adjusted, but generally you will have that opportunity between 11:15 and 11:45. There's another question here. For students on rotation, will they be using Excelis on their virtual days, or this will vary by? No, students will not be using Excelis that are on rotation. Okay. So I think that is the end of my report, and I will turn it back over to Maria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Guzman. Now we move to the treasurer's report. Jen, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm having connectivity issues, so I'm on just by phone now, and I apologize. My name shows up as Mia, but she was probably using WebEx on my phone recently. So I'll just do a verbal report.
Yeah.
So last year, our budget finished. We had an income of 105,000. Expenses of 96, so we ended up 9,000 positive. The craft fair brought in last year 45,000. I'll just highlight our three main events. Jogathon brought in 35,000. And as you know, we weren't able to have Mayfair last year. So for this year, what we have budgeted for the upcoming year is we have an income of 70,000, expenses of 130,000 for a negative 60,000. So it's quite a bit different. The craft fair, we went down from usually we budget about 30,000. This year we went down to 7,500. The jogathon we kept the same at 30,000. And then Mayfair, we reduced the income to 65,000. Oh, excuse me, 6,500. And then some of the changes on the expense side for this upcoming year, we did make some additions. And PTA board, if you can remind me as I'm going through my spreadsheet here. I know that we added some line items to help with office supplies and additional safety equipment. And then we also added some line items related to what we are calling Noelani branded items. which would be, I think we're going to talk about it later tonight, some masks that we have purchased in advance for the school community to purchase. And those are the main changes. So the budget just looks a little bit different this year because of all the uncertainties and some of the canceled events that will likely happen this fall. Okay, any questions for me?
No, no questions in the chat that I can see.
Okay, thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Jane. For those who just joined, you can ask questions through Q&A and chat, so we can see all the questions and we can reply to you. So for the new budget, I'd like to add a little bit more. For the budget this year, basically, we reduced the Mayfair and craft fair to about 1/3 of the income and expenses, because we don't think it's going to be even close to what we used to have. And we have some decrease for Jogathon. And after discussion was Mr. Gusman, we thought that it might be possible to do it. So we didn't decrease as much as what we had for Mayfair and Craft Fair, but there is a decrease in both income and expenses. For those reasons, we expect a lot lower income for this coming school year, and the expenses side, except for those fundraising events, we reduced expenses, but for the school support and support for teachers, we actually keep the same. That's why you will see a big negative balance at the end for the reported school year. So that's what we expected to do, and PTA does have some reserve from in the past few years, so we think we will be fine. But moving on, hopefully the COVID will be ending soon and then we're back to normal. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the new business. Let me share the agenda so that we know. And for those who just joined, we have over 100 attendees today. I like to emphasize the importance of the school PTA, and it's comprised of all the parents and our wonderful teachers. And the PTA actually played a very important role in supporting the teachers and the students. Recently, we actually had a couple new projects supporting the school, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the other officers, we had budget and we actually supported the school to purchase the Chromebook for the students to use through distant learnings and home learnings. And we also, in the past years, we support to install the TV screens in the cafeteria. So moving on to, I wanted to switch gears to the new business items. We were thinking they're going to be better, especially now. There should be better communication to all the parents and the teachers, to encourage all the parents to involve in the PTA. So we were talking about having a regular e-letters to introduce what the PTA was doing, what's the pending projects, what kind of need we really need people to step in and support. And after, and later on, we will talk about the committee report. We actually need a lot of people to be chairs and shadows. So that's what we've been talking about. Now everything is online. So a regular e-newsletter, I think will help people understand what is PTA doing, help people to engage and to support where it's needed. So any feedback on that?
Hey, Maria, it's Jen. Sorry. I'm just getting a question in the chat about our account balance as part of the treasurer's report. So we do have 3 accounts, and the total as of right now is 274,000. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, because this year's budget gonna be negative. Is this negative 70, Jen?
Yep, it's negative 60, negative 60,000.
Yeah. So we will have enough reserve to cover if we really reach that amount. Yeah. So going back to that e-newsletter, we definitely need people who are interested. It doesn't have to be fancy or good at writing. It just have a willing heart. And if you are interested to participate, we haven't decided if we're gonna do monthly or every 2 months or quarterly. But if you are interested, please let the officers know or Mr. Gusmans know, so we can get this project move forward. Okay. So next, we just follow the agenda. We're gonna talk about sale of school T-shirt and the face masks. So Lorelei, do you want to lead the discussion?
Button. Oh, there we go. My mute button. Okay. So we have T-shirts and face masks available for our Noelani families to purchase. So I'm just going to hold it up. This is an example or a sample of the mask. We have adult sizes, and then we also have children's sizes. And the difference between the two is that the children's face mask is adjustable, and it has the Noelani mascot on top of the mask here. And so we haven't decided, the pricing just yet. And so these are probably going to go out in some sort of Google form type of ordering. And so we'll get that out to the families as soon as we can. Now the t-shirts, that's a different story in terms of ordering. In the past, we used to offer sales on open house night or any, I think it was the opening of school. We used to have a table in front of the office where we used to do t-shirt sales. However, this year is quite different. So we are our vendor who printed our shirts in the past. He is going to be creating an online ordering system, and families can pay online. He is going to bag it for all of us. That way, the office staff doesn't have to do that. And then we will distribute it hopefully in September. Hopefully things settle down and that we can do groups on campus, the A and the B group on campus that we can distribute, and then do a drive-by. We'll talk with Mr. Gusman on the safe way to do that, drive-by pickup for those who are on distance learning to come by and pick up the shirt. Now, the shirt design for this year is very similar to last year's design. The difference is that there's going to be a couple lines of the school song will be on top of the design. What we decided as a board, we are going to take out the school year so that we don't have to have new shirts every year. So we're going to take out the school year, and those of you who are interested in buying would buy, if your child outgrew his or her shirt from the year before, just to kind of cut the cost down. We wanted to be mindful of that. So that information will be forthcoming. We'll talk to Mr. Gusman on the safest way, the easiest way to get it out to families. So please support. That's one of our fundraisers this year. The t-shirt, Noelani t-shirt, and the face mask. Yep. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Carly.
There's a question in the chat, which is very important. How do they volunteer for a chair or shadow position?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll reach out to them if you, I do see a couple. I've been writing names down. So we'll talk to Mr. Gusman and get your contact information. And then we'll communicate more with some of the things, the committees that are available. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Maria. There's
And
another.
also, if you want to find our contact information, if you're on a Google site and you search Noelani PTA, we have an awesome website that one of our committee chair put together, and all the officers' contact information is there. So you can send emails to us, and we'll reach out to you.
Yep. On that website is also past meeting minutes, also for past meetings, if you're interested.
Mhm.
Would you?
Yeah, and then I'll send the link to Lisa to post on our website for the mask sales as well. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Lori,
And we also have Facebooks. So if you go on Facebook and you search Noelani PTA, you will find us. And then if you please like and subscribe and let the people know that you there's a specific area that you can help. That would be great.
okay.
Sorry,
maybe,
Brian.
Maria, maybe can you stop sharing, and then Lori, can you show the mask so it's bigger, so they can
Yep.
see what it looks like, and then they also want to know what color the shirt is going to be.
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, sorry, I have my earphones on, so it's a little crooked, but yeah, it's super comfortable. And then the kids one is a little smaller, but it does have adjustable straps here. Yeah. So this is it here. Okay. The color of the shirt, it is going to be, if you remember last year's, I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of it ready to share, but if you remember last year's shirt, it's a little darker.
So they're asking for pictures. Maybe you guys can put them
Yep.
on our PTA website.
We'll put it on the website. Yep. So we'll send it to Lisa and she can put the design up. And yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay, thank you. So next we're going to talk about open house. So usually PTA will have a general meeting, a video, and talk about what we do as a PTA. But since this year it's very special and teacher has a lot to cover and during the open house, so PTA not going to involve or spend any time during the open house. So we might schedule some lock down some time for the next PTA meeting just to explain what the role is, what kind of major events we're doing, since hopefully we can get same amount of attraction this time. So next item is I propose to switch the PTA meeting time to every Thursday night. We have been meeting every Wednesday night from 6 to 7, but I personally have some recurring events starting actually every Wednesday ending at 5:50. So it's quite pressing for me to get on to 6 o'clock. So it would be great if we can move it to every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m.
Yep. So just to clarify what Maria is saying, it's going to be the second. Our PTA meetings are always the second. It used to be the second Wednesday, but she is proposing the second Thursday of each month. Is that correct, Maria?
Right. Yeah. Thank you for correcting. Yeah. Yeah. Every week will be too much.
Yeah, Lisa said it's okay. I know. I was thinking, we're meeting every week this year. I didn't know that.
Too anxious. Yeah. Okay. If we are good, then we're gonna schedule the meeting every second Thursday per month. Okay, so since I'm on the meeting schedule, I'm gonna share the screen again. So this is gonna be our upcoming meeting dates. Second Thursday every month. But for October, we move it from October 8th to October 15th because there's a fall break in between. So that'll be the third Thursday for October.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Gusman will help us get the word out and the WebEx links.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's a
So,
question that says, will the PTA meetings be held virtually on WebEx until we are informed otherwise? I can
Yeah.
keep hosting the meetings. That's fine. I don't know what happens with the links for some people. I think you got to start it. I think you got to start the meeting for some of the links to work for some people. It's a mystery to me. Some people can register and get on, and other people it just doesn't work. So unless we can find a better platform, I guess we'll just continue to use the WebEx, because with my account I can accommodate up to 10,000 people. So and there's no additional charge. So I mean, I'm willing to do it, but just that as long as everybody understands, like I don't really have control over a lot of this stuff. I got to learn more about it.
No worries. Yeah.
can Miss Gusman, can you still use Zoom?
I can
Somehow
use,
Zoom is more friendly.
I can use Zoom, but the problem with using Zoom, and the reason why we do it this way, is because if we had, so now we have 102 people on with us. Like if everybody had their video on, then it takes up a lot of bandwidth. That's why we do it this way, so we don't see everybody else and we're the only ones that are kind of showing the video on the screen. Well, there's some pluses and minuses to doing it that way, but we can look into it.
Okay, so the next agenda is the webinar. I think Lorelei, do you wanted to elaborate on that, and then I can add?
Was this in response to how we were thinking about increasing our membership attendance for our for the PTA?
Yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Maria.
no problem. So we were talking about it should, and maybe even the future, because now the teachers are so overwhelmed. But when things settled or everyone is on the track, and then we thought about a quarterly webinar, which will introduce the topics that the parents will be interested in or need guidance on. It can relate to sports, or even now it can be how to do distant learning, and avoid people and kids addict to the YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
So those kind of topics. And then,
Yeah.
Ms. Gusman, we definitely need support from the teachers. Not right now for sure, because I know the teachers are overwhelmed, and the parents too. So when we kind of have the bandwidth or the time to think about that, then we can organize a quarterly webinars for that. And all the parents, if you have connections, especially with those education experts or the people, the professor in the UH who would love to share their knowledge about education, how to teach your child, how to do certain things, will love to collaborate with them. So that's, yeah, so that's a thought that we will have in the future.
Yeah, that I remember we were talking about how to increase membership and attendance at our meetings and to get our Noelani community involved. And so, you know, maybe a survey that we would send out to our families on what are some big topics that our families would be interested. And like Maria said, when things do settle down, to involve our faculty in leading these webinars and you know the topics again could range from how to support your child at home with the distance learning, you know, and we were talking about athletics, you know, what would be an appropriate time to switch over, and I'm going to use soccer as the example, like community soccer, like ASO, and when do you then transition to club soccer, when is the appropriate time, but things like that that a lot of parents think about, and maybe having experts come in and talk about that might help guide our thinking for those types of things. So we were thinking about maybe possibly sending out a survey and trying to get some ideas on what our Noelani families were interested in learning more about, and together we can learn.
Yeah, thank you, Harley. So last item on the new business is setting up the committee chair, shadows, and advisor across the grade level. And Stanford, do you want to elaborate on that?
You're muted. Oh,
Yeah.
and we might have to help him with the mute. I don't know if we can.
Okay.
Can you? Oh, there you go.
Brian unmuted me. Thank you very much, Maria, Lorelei. Yeah, so for new parents, this is maybe not going to have any context, but Noelani PTA organizes 3 main fundraising events throughout the year. And it has been, as you heard from Jen, very successful in raising money that goes to pay for things like teachers, equipment, supplies for the staff, fundraising socials like the ice cream social. So you will cover more of that at the open house meeting for the PTA, but we are facing a crisis with our chairs. We have had a couple of chair people over the past few years that have, bless their hearts, have taken on large events for many years. And we still have one chair that is with us for the Mayfair, Mika, and thankfully she is going to stay with us for this year's event, should we be able to hold it. But we are facing a shortage. And one thought that I had was that we possibly address the chairmanship roles by grade level. So, for example, our first large event would be the craft fair, and that would be in the fall. And I thought that if the 5th grade parents would get together and spearhead that event, that would allow us to have continuity throughout the years. And we wouldn't just rely on one person to take over the event. And every year there would be an expectation that the 5th grade parents, take over the craft fair. And we can talk about the other 2 events, but my thought would be the 4th grade parents would take over Jogathon, and the 3rd grade parents would take over the Mayfair. And the reason for that is the 4th grade parents, I believe, have a large trip, for their 4th grade Big Island trip. 5th grade parents, they have graduation and other things going on at that time. Kindergartner and 1st grade parents, are getting used to the school, and just getting them involved would be great, but asking them to chair a major event would be a lot to ask. So I would also want there to be shadows. So the 2nd grade parents, for example, could shadow the 3rd graders for the Mayfair, and vice versa, 3rd grade parents shadow the 4th graders. But that was just one thought I had in terms of trying to inject more people into the PTA, because it is a very valuable resource to Noelani. I was talking to some of the other officers and parents out there, and Noelani is a great school because of the wonderful staff we have there, the community that supports it, but also the PTA. The PTA really makes Noelani a special school, and we need more participation from everyone across the board in order to keep things going. There was a question from Jen asking us to let people know that you can join the PTA through the PTA website, and you can email a copy, and we'll send all this out to you via Facebook and the website, but you can email a copy of the registration form to her. We're also registered for the Give Aloha program, and we'll get that information out as well. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to start the conversation and sort of get feedback from parents, because we're asking you for your support, and we can't do it by ourselves. And again, it was wonderful to have people like Chinoa, Mika, Sandra in the past who took on these major events, but I think that it's going to be hard for someone to do that year in and year out. And when they leave, it creates a big gap.
Yeah, thank you, Stanford.
Can I address, there's a couple questions that in regards to, so interesting enough, we just received the mask, and so we haven't had an opportunity at the board to discuss what the pricing is. It is actually the first fundraiser for this school year, and so we will go ahead and get that out to everyone as soon as we can through Mr. Gusman, through our website, through through our Facebook site. And yes, it is our one. The shields, we're not going to be, at least the PTA, selling the shields, but we are doing the face mask and the t-shirts. The cost of the t-shirts will be consistent with past years. Yeah, I think it was 10. Yeah, it was 10. Yeah, Maria. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lottie. So to add on to what Stanford has said, I think one of the reasons why we have a chair prize today, we actually have, I think, 4 or 5 key positions that need chair. So those wonderful parents have been chairing the committee in the past even 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden they left. And then that's where the gap comes from. We even don't have a chair for craft fair, which is our major event. So to solve that problem, as what Stanford has suggested, if we have people engaged, instead of a system that if you're in first grade, if you're in 5th grade, you have to step up. You have to have someone to step up to do the leadership in this committee. If we have the system set up, and then it will help people and help the transition going smoothly, so that we have less chances to have this priced again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have about 9 minutes. We don't gonna, yeah.
Can I add one more thing? You know, we do have actually an ongoing I guess I'm going to say fundraiser. It's the Box Tops for Education program. And there's actually a really easy way to log your Box Tops and have it credited to our PTA. There's an app for your phone, and you would scan your receipts and the box, but it kind of walks you through. It's pretty intuitive, but that's actually one way that our PTA has been earning money is through Box Tops. Yeah. And so more information. I'll talk more with Lisa, who is chairing that, and we'll get that information again out to everyone. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah, thank you, Lolly. We actually in the past have earned over $5,000 just from the Box Top, and since they have used online ad, and we have some problem with chairs, and the income actually decreased dramatically. So if it is definitely an opportunity to do something, you don't actually need a lot of efforts to do that. So we have about 7 minutes. I wanted to quickly.
Real quick, Maria, there's a couple of questions. One parent asked, can there be co-chairs? And yes, there can be co-chairs for events, and they're right. The chairing a project is very difficult if they've never done it before. So yes, definitely co-chairs are fine. And we would hope that if we can get a system in place, the shadows could also help for the following year, where they wouldn't be expected to do a lot unless they wanted to, but they would be able to shadow and learn. But yes, there can be co-chairs. There's another question. Is there an Amazon Smile account? And there is a Noelani PTA Amazon Smile account. We do get a percentage of sales. So yes, there is an Amazon.
Yes, thank you, Stanford. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Wanted to quickly go through these positions that we need chair or shadows. So bylaw is the one that we really need help, and the people will go through the policies and the regulations set for the PTA. And currently we need a chair. You don't need to be expert on legal stuff at all. It's everyone can do that. And craft fair, definitely we need one, although we're not gonna have physical craft fair this year in November. We were thinking of if we can do something online, virtual, do some online auction that would help the school at least and the PTA generate some income. So moving over, so Jogathon, Stanford and Jen gonna co-chair this event, and we need someone to step up and shadow, and eventually to take on the responsibility. As you see, Stanford is already a VP, so we want to have a lot of parents to engage in the activity instead of just a few that engage in multiple committees. Nominations. Nominations are the group that gonna nominate officers. So for president, it's 2 years term, and the same as VP, the same as treasurer, I think. The same with all officers, it's 2-year term. So in some instances, some officers cannot stay 2 years, so there's gonna be transitions. So nominations has play a very big role finding the candidate for officers.
Yeah, Mika Mayfair needs a shadow as well.
Oh, here need shadow. Okay, yeah.
And when we got people wanting to co-chair, awesome. Yeah, we'll get in touch with you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Oh, I also see on March meeting minutes, is membership need a chair as well? It seems membership need a chair. We'll touch base with Jen and Natalie and see what happens. Because Jen is already on co-chair for the Jogathon.
Yep, and we have one parent that volunteered to co-chair Staff Appreciation Week. So if there's someone else who would love to co-chair, we got someone in the chat that wanted to. So,
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. Yay. This online thing works out. Okay, so next one is parking. So usually we used to have an awesome chair, Jeff, who does parking for every event. Super sorry for him. But his daughter graduated this year. So we definitely need a parking. Although now it seems it's a perfect time without a parking position, right? Otherwise, we don't know how we can survive. But yeah, we need someone to take on this this position. Okay, so great. We have a staff appreciation chair. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
A co-chair. Yeah. So if we have another parent who would love to co-chair with Kristen, that would be great.
Yeah. And as we talked and Stanford talked, for all the other committees, although right now we have chairs or maybe we have shadows, if you wanted to be involved, and then you can be the advisor or the people who can get involved in a lower grade when your kids grow, and then you can take more responsibilities, and that'll be great too. So right now it's 6:58. Do we have any questions?
We have a question from Ms. Nakamura in regards to if we need individual room parents for classes. That might be something for Mr. Gusman to address. And we also have another parent that is interested in chairing the bylaws committee on the Q&A.
Great.
Yeah. So, and another parent is asking if there's a document that we can reference to describe what each committee entails. And I believe I saw something like that, but if not, yeah, we can definitely work on a document that does address each committee, and it would be very helpful, I think, for parents. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, room parents, we'll let the teachers kind of settle down and everybody else kind of settle down, and maybe once we kind of have whatever we can call normalcy and routine, then we can address the room parent thing and then move from there.
Okay. Do you have any more from the chat? No, we're good.
Just one more comment for Ms. Nakamura. For the next PTA meeting, we should perhaps include the teacher representatives as panelists, just in case we have to ask them questions or if they have questions for us.
That's a good, Definitely. Lisa mentioned that on the website, there are descriptions for for the chairs, the responsibilities. Thank you,
Mhm.
Lisa.
Yeah. And if you want to join the PTA, there is a membership fee, right? I think it's $15 per year. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So please participate, please join. But it doesn't mean that you cannot help if you choose not to join. Yeah. Okay, so now it's 7 o'clock. Do we have anything else? No. Okay, so today's meeting adjourned, and we'll see you guys again in September.
Thank you for attending. This is super awesome, super
is awesome.
productive.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Can the panelists just stay on, please? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
filter out.
Awesome. Shoot, too bad it's not a normal year. We got chairs for everything. We'd be
know,
like
right?
up and running.
Is there a record of all the participants that actually connected?
There should be, since he recorded, there it takes the log.
Okay.
But
Because
awesome.
you might want to hit